Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for joining us. This is Cal Week information session for Rouser College undeclared major students. My name is Jenny. I use she or they pronouns, and I'm an academic advisor at Rouser College of Natural Resources. I'll be your moderator for this session. Also assisting me is Joshua Dulligan, our Assistant Dean of Instruction and Student Affairs, and I'll let him briefly introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Josh. I'm the Assistant Dean of Instruction and Student Affairs. If you were in the last session, you already met me. For those of you who are just chiming into this one, hello and welcome to Cal Week at Rouser College.
Awesome, thank you, Josh. So to start off, I'll just give you a brief outline of what we're going to go over today and also introduce our panelists. So as you may have noticed, you can see us, but we can't see or hear you. So if you have questions, you can use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and our Assistant Dean will make sure that we see them and feed them to the panelists. We're going to start off with 3 initial questions for our panelists, and after those 3 questions, we'll start taking questions from the audience. We're also going to be recording this session and the chat log, and hope to post the recording on our Cal Week website later this week, so keep an eye out for that. At the end of the session, we're going to post contact information in the chat window just in case we miss a question or you think of a question later that you'd like to ask us. So with those logistics out of the way, I'd like to just once again welcome each and every one of you, admitted students and family, to the Cal Week information session for Rouser College undeclared major students. Woohoo! For those of you who are newly admitted students, which I assume most of you are, just offering you a big congratulations once again on your admission to the university. Hopefully you'll find this session helpful, and we also hope that you'll join us in the fall. So moving along, today we have 3 panelists to talk about resources and what it means to be an undeclared major, to start off as an undeclared major at Rouser College. So first we have Anna Hohenrieder, the academic advisor for undeclared major students. Anna, I'll hand it off to you to briefly introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. So yes, I'm Anna. I'm the advisor for the undeclared students at the college. I started in the college about 2.5 years ago, first working at the front desk, and now I've been with the undeclared majors for about a year. I'm happy to talk to you more about the different types of majors that we have in the college, how to be undeclared, and just a little bit more about the general college experience.
Great, thank you, Anna. Now we have 2 of our peer advising leaders, or as they're known around the office, PALs, Perla Paredes and Heidi Kim. Perla and Heidi, could you each introduce yourselves? And let's start out with Heidi, if you're there.
Hi, I'm here. I'm unable to turn on my video for some reason, but hi, I'm Heidi. I am a 4th year molecular environmental biology major. I'm focusing in animal health and behavior because I am interested in becoming a veterinarian. I have been a peer advisor for 2 years now, and I'm always free to answer any questions about my major and choosing your majors or any other majors you're interested in, so feel free to shoot any questions my way.
Awesome, thank you, Heidi. Perla, could you introduce yourself?
Hello everyone. Yeah, I'm also not able to turn on my video, but my name is Perla. I am a 4th year CRS major with a focus on environmental health policy. I was undecided coming into Berkeley, and then I was in CNR. But what I really liked about CRS, which I will talk about later, is that you're able to make your own area of interest and choose from different departments to make the 8 classes. So I'm really looking forward to talking to you all about that.
Awesome, thank you both, and thank you all 3 of us for joining us today. So we'll start off with a few questions. Starting with Anna, could you give us an overview of the major options available at the Rouser College Natural College of Natural Resources?
Yeah, sure. So we have majors across 4 different departments in our college. They span the biological sciences, ecosystems management, and interdisciplinary studies, as well as the social sciences. So starting with some of our biological sciences majors, both in the plant and microbial biology department, we have genetics and plant biology, GPB, and microbial biology, MB. Genetics and plant biology, you can look into genetics as well as a focus on plant sciences, and microbial biology, you can look at micro and small organism biology. We also have our Nutritional Sciences and Toxicology department. The Nutritional Sciences major has 3 different specializations. There's Dietetics, which is focused on human health, and it's accredited to set you up to become a registered dietitian. There's also the Physiology and Metabolism concentration, which is focused on human health, disease, as well as how the diet impacts human health and wellness. And then there's also our Toxicology specialization, where you can get into the toxicity and toxic interactions amongst different organisms and how toxins impact organisms. Our last biology-focused major is in the Environmental Sciences Policy and Management department. It's Molecular Environmental Biology, MEB, and it's our most broad major. You can study integrative biology, molecular cell biology, and some environmental focuses in that biology-focused major. Then some of the other majors we have in that department would be environmental sciences. There you'll get a good basis of research and a focus around the study of the environment. We also have conservation and resource studies, CRS, which Perla mentioned a little before, which is our interdisciplinary major. You can help choose your own area of interest related to environmental sciences or natural resources. And we also have ecosystems management and forestry, which has 2 really interesting specializations. One, which is accredited to become a registered forester in California. That's our forestry specialization, which has a unique program of a forestry field camp built into it. And we also have a natural resource management concentration, where you can have an ecology focus and build one of your own programs around ecosystems management. And then lastly, for our social sciences, within still the Environmental Sciences Policy and Management Department, we have Society and Environment. There you'll focus on the social and political aspects of the environment. And we also have Environmental Economics and Policy, which is an applied economics degree in the study of the environment and natural resources. So there's a large variety of majors in the college. You really can study all sorts of different aspects related to biology, natural resources, economics, political resources. There's many focuses you can take within our college.
Great, thank you so much, Anna. Could you also explain what it means to be an undeclared major in Rouser College?
Yeah, and I saw that there was one question in the Q&A, which I can kind of address now. So you're not required to come into the college as undeclared. You can come into the college declared in one of our majors, but we also welcome students to come in undeclared as well if you wanted to see a few different majors, or maybe you just need some more time to make that decision. That's fine with us. Coming in undeclared, you are still in our college, so you can take advantage of many of the opportunities in our college, but while doing that, you're exploring different types of classes, and in your first couple of years, you're taking very similar classes to someone who would be declared in the major, but maybe you're just looking at a few other majors at the same time, and then we work with you to help you declare those majors in our college.
Great, thanks so much. So this next question is for Perla and Heidi, our peer advisors. I know you both started off in the major as undeclared. Could you each tell us a little bit about what that was like and how you went about choosing a major?
I can go first. So as I mentioned earlier, my area of interest is environmental health policy, and initially I was a society and environment major, but during my first year, going a little bit into my second year, I just wasn't sure how I could manage all of these interests that I had and put it into one. So I felt a little bit restricted with the other majors. So that's why, as I mentioned earlier, I was able to take classes from different departments that fulfilled my own interests, and that's why I love CRS so much. And of course, you have your requirements that are across the different majors. But yeah.
So I actually did come into CNR declared as my major that I am now, but I think when I was applying, I truly had no idea what I was getting myself into. I just knew that I broadly wanted to work with animals, whether that be as a veterinarian or something in animal care in general. And just doing some basic internet research, I did see that my major was like one of the only ones in pretty much all of Berkeley that had anything regarding animals in the actual name of the major. And so that's why I decided to apply as an MEB major. Coming into Berkeley, I didn't really know where I wanted to take, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my career. And so I did do some soul searching after I came in, even declared. And I think a lot of students feel that way, even if they are coming into the college declared. And a lot of students do change majors. And so I think all of us do a little bit of, searching for what's the right major, even if you come in declared. And I think for me personally speaking, I really enjoy my major because it's like Anna said, it's very broad. It covers both the small and large aspects of biology. So whether you're interested in small things like microbes or cells, or if you're interested in the bigger parts of biology like physiology and the environment, those are all kind of encompassed in MEB, and you can kind of pick and choose how much of your major you want to focus different parts of biology in. So that's what I like about my major.
Awesome, thank you so much. So here's our next question to all of the panelists. What advice would you give to Rouser College students about selecting a major? And maybe we can start with one of the pals, either Heidi or Perla.
So selecting a major, on our website, we have a lot of the snapshots for each of the major, but we also have the PALS contact information. And so what I didn't do during my first year is I didn't ask questions, and that's something that I learned over the years, like, being shy. I was like, am I bothering them? But the best way to know about classes, to know about professors, is like talking to the students themselves. So don't be shy to ask questions. Like, our emails are there. Even like the tiniest of things, whatever doubt, it's better to get it out of the way, because at least for myself, I had a lot of doubts, and that's why I struggled a lot with the other major that I was going to declare about, because I really wanted to keep like the social science aspect, but then incorporate that with the environmental health aspect, but also policy. So like all these interests, I was able to put them kind of like under one umbrella.
Yeah, I totally agree with Pearl. I think one of the best resources for having a student perspective on the majors and the classes that you'll be taking under these majors are the peer advisors. And even if the peer advisors can't answer your question, they do have friends that are, in like different majors in the college. And so we are full of resources to help you navigate the different kinds of majors that you can explore. We do have an email that you can send questions to. It's pal@berkeley.edu. And if you have a specific question about, like a specific major, we do have pals of various majors, so we can direct that question to the pal of interest.
Awesome, thanks Heidi. Anna, do you have anything more to add? Advice for Rouser College students about picking a major?
Yeah, so I think the PALs are a great resource to learn more about the different majors, especially some of the classes of interest in those majors. I encourage students to take any classes that they're interested in, to really take each semester as an opportunity to explore those interests. I feel like that's really useful, and we'll make sure that you still stay on track. Don't worry about not being able to graduate in 4 years. We want rather have you explore your interests, and we'll still find a way to make sure that you're able to graduate. But it's great for you to take this opportunity of college to explore the different major options that are available, and to take some classes to decide if this is something you want to study further. There's also some great resources on campus. One I refer to students a lot is the Career Counseling Library. If students feel it's unique that at Berkeley, we don't just have a career center, we also have a career counseling library where we have licensed career counselors that can sit with you and help you figure out things like what your academic interests are, what type of careers you're hoping to go into, how does your personality and your skills fit with those careers. And it's a really valuable resource if you feel like you're a little lost or you're not quite sure what the next steps would be to trying to figure out what you would like to do within the college or after you leave the college.
Great, thanks, Anna. So we're getting questions in the chat. Thank you so much to everyone who's sending in the questions, and just keep them coming. So one question here, and then another one that's related. Maybe Anna, you can take this one. If someone applied to a specific major, but they decide they want to change, can they change it before starting in the fall, and how do they do that? And another related question, how do I change my major to undeclared before school starts?
Yeah, so if you're admitted to the college as a whole, then if you decide to accept your offer of admission, then we encourage you to reach out if there's still another major within the college that you're interested in, and we can look into that, and we can talk to your advisor and see if they're willing to potentially switch you over. Otherwise, if you weren't admitted to our specific college, we are still happy to talk to you about transferring over to the college later on. That would just not occur before the fall start. That would occur at least one semester after the start of the fall. So if you're within the college, there might be some latitude to move within the majors, but if you weren't admitted, then there are still some requirements to come over to the college. And I'm happy to meet with you, or one of the other advisors can meet with you on what those requirements would be to transfer into the college. But at that point, you would be transferring into a major and not necessarily as undeclared.
Great, thank you, Anna. Let's take this question. Can you double major within CNR or Rouser College?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you definitely can. We see quite a few students. I would say all of our majors, there is an ability to double major. It's definitely easier in some majors than others. I think the majors that probably have the most requirements are our two accredited majors, which is both the Dietetics specialization of the Nutritional Sciences and also the Forestry specialization of the Ecosystems Management and Forestry. And that's just because of these outside professional organizations that have very specific requirements on what they need graduates to have once they graduate for these programs to keep them on track for these professional licensures. But outside of that, I found that within all of our majors, there's a good amount of space. Many of them only have about 8 or so upper division classes. So if you think about that, that's roughly 2 classes a semester for your upper division. For some of them, it's a very similar amount of lower division requirements as well. So that really gives you a lot of space to do a double major. And you can also see that many of our majors are quite flexible as well, which can make double majoring even more easy, so that there's a couple of classes that you might be able to overlap with another major. Or if you decide that maybe you don't necessarily want to take on a whole other major, then there should still be enough room definitely for a minor, or for you to even fit in a lot of those classes into one major of interest. Something like the Conservation and Resource Studies major if maybe you don't necessarily want to take the potential 14 or 16 upper division classes a full double major would require, you're welcome to use something like that major to combine a couple of different interests together into one field of study.
Awesome, thank you. Let's see, here's one. So what should a freshman or first year schedule look like for an undeclared student?
One of the pals maybe want to take an example for their majors?
I can go. So my first year consisted a lot of classes that aren't specifically, I guess, oriented towards this college. It's kind of a classes that a lot of biology majors in general across the campus take. So basic biology classes like Bio 1A and B. I also took chemistry, math. So those are very, typical classes that a bio major will be taking. So that was like what my first year looked like here.
Awesome. And maybe either Heidi or Perla, kind of related, are most intro courses in the first 2 years taken at Rouser College, or are they in other departments or other colleges? And maybe you can speak from your experience.
I think the first Rouser class that I took at my time here was SPM 50AC, and it was kind of like an introductory course to kind of more environmental aspects of my education here. I think there are opportunities for students to take classes within the departments in this college as a first and second year. So a lot of the SPM lower division classes, which are requirements for like my major, for example, there's like SPM 6, SPM, like others SPM classes that kind of introduce you to environmental science as a whole before you kind of delve into more specific topics in your upper division classes. So I think there are plenty of chances to be exposed to more roster specific classes as a lower division, underclassmen.
Yeah, great. All right, here's another question. What are the breadth requirements? I was looking at some major snapshot and couldn't find any info on breadth requirements. Yeah, so maybe Anna or Perla, would you be able to explain how breadth requirements work at Rouser?
Yeah, I can address that. So you'll find that the majors, they are often fairly unique, and that goes down to the breadth as well. Some of you might be slightly familiar with the letters and sciences breadth requirements of the 7-course breadth. And there's a couple majors in our college that follow that pattern as well. But there's some that are not, and in general, it's far more open. We find that especially within our biological sciences, our breadth requirements are very wide open because we know that you'll have your physical science and biological skills from your major itself, and we're confident in those skills, but we just want to see some general humanities types of breadths. And in some of the other majors, especially some of the social sciences, you might have more specific breadth requirements. Because we don't know if you'll necessarily get those types of experiences within the major itself. Each major has different breadth. It is explained on the major snapshots, which we'll link a page to information about our majors later on at the end of the session. And I'd encourage you to look at those major snapshots. You can also ask us questions about those in case it seems a little unclear for there. But we consider the breadth as part of the major. So each major has slightly different breadth requirements. And for some, that might mean that there's a full 7 specific courses. And for some, it's even as open as AP credits can count for breadth. And it's just any types of humanities that you're looking for your breadth requirements.
Great, thank you. So we're getting a lot of questions here about like, can I major in Rouser and minor in LNS? Can I do double, like a simultaneous degree in 2 different colleges? can I switch from LNS into Rouser? I'm wondering if you can just give a little bit overview of the relationship of Rouser College and the other campus as it relates to majoring and minoring.
Yeah, definitely. So the first question, can you major in the college and minor in another college, or can you have majors in our college and another college? Absolutely. As far, you can take minors from any of the colleges at Berkeley, not just the College of Letters and Sciences. Minors are open to all students, and you, as long as you fulfill those requirements, minors, they don't have the same barrier of entry as majors where you typically need a certain GPA to do a minor. They really just want students to be able to focus on a specific range of classes, and they encourage students to do these minors across various different colleges within the campus. For simultaneous degrees, which is what we call if you do a major in our college and a major in another college, that's welcome as well. It will take some planning depending on the types of majors that you're interested in, and we can't guarantee that every student will, considering that there are requirements that you still will need to meet for other colleges for those majors. But we really will work with you to try to see if we can find a way to fit it in. And I've found that we actually have a lot of students that have simultaneous degrees. We probably have over 100 or 200 currently in the college that are completing simultaneous degrees. So it's quite common. We see it very often. We do get a lot specifically with the College of Letters and Sciences for some of those other social science types of degrees, but we've seen them with the Haas School of Business, the College of Chemistry. We've seen other relationships with other colleges as well. And then I think, what was the last question on that?
I'm not sure, but a couple follow-up questions related to that. So in terms of flexibility of taking classes outside of the college, could you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, sure. So you can see there's going to be a scheduling tool if you want to look at specific classes that are offered. It's called classes.berkeley.edu, and you can see the different classes that we offer here at Berkeley. On there, you can see that there are specific classes that are reserved for just students in a college, but most classes are available for students regardless of college to take. And many classes, they aren't just used for one particular major, they're applicable to a variety of majors. So you're welcome to take classes from other colleges. You're welcome to take classes from our college. And we really do encourage you to take a few different classes. We want to make sure that you get a good amount of classes in our college, but we understand that a lot of the richness in these majors comes from understanding other areas of disciplines of political science or economics or things that aren't necessarily within our college itself.
Awesome, thank you. So here's another one. Can a transfer student come in as an undeclared student?
So unfortunately, no. Transfer students must come in being able to declare a major. And for transfer students, if you're a prospective transfer student or prospective transfer student, we encourage you to reach out to us so we can make sure that you're meeting the requirements of eligibility. As a transfer student, each different major has a separate set of requirements of what it would take to be admitted to the major, because the idea is that you would have most of the lower division requirements for those majors done at community college or at another location before you transfer over to Berkeley. So we want to make sure that you're on track, ready for the upper division as soon as you start in Berkeley, and that is why there's different class requirements, and that's why you also would need to come in with a major declared when you step onto campus as a transfer student. I believe that's the case for all the colleges at Berkeley, that transfer students must be able to declare a major when they come in. I know for the College of Letters and Sciences, they actually still do come in undeclared, and they're intending these majors, but outside of that, every student comes in for the other colleges declared in their major when they come in to the college.
Great, thanks. So here's a question for the pals. Are breadth requirements the same between letters and sciences and Rouser, or are they specific to each major at Rouser? And then I'm curious how, if you came in undeclared or unsure about what your major was going to be, how did you know with which breadth requirements to start working on, and how did you go about that process? And Heidi or Perla, if you don't want to take it, maybe Anna, you can jump in.
I know that they've been having a few internet issues, so that might be part of the issue. So yeah, I'm happy to address that question. So for the breadth specifically, it is dependent on the major. As far as the question of which breadths to start with, I would say that if there's particular breadths that are special, that for some majors in the college, you can overlap breadth with your major requirements. But in general, I would say that oftentimes you won't necessarily aim to take a class as a breadth in your first couple of semesters. It's great to take classes of interest to you. And for many of the majors, the breadth will be fulfilled along the way. And we can always fit in a few specific breadths later on if those really aren't going to be captured through some of your other courses of interest. But it's great to use the breadth as an opportunity to explore as well. So if there's a couple of majors that you're thinking about, or maybe you're interested in doing a minor later in a certain field of study, I'd encourage you to take some of those classes. And oftentimes you will find that those fulfill a good number of breadths. The majority of the lower division classes here at Berkeley do fulfill some sort of breadth requirement. So I'd encourage you to take some classes of interest, and as long as you're taking some progress towards your major, taking some classes of interest, we find that students are usually pretty on track within their freshman year.
Great, thank you. We touched a little bit on this before, but I think maybe just really focusing in on the process of declaring or changing majors, both within Rouser College and either from another college to Rouser College or into another college.
So if you're already admitted to our college, there isn't a GPA requirement for most of the majors, with the exception of the Dietetics specialization. But for the other majors, there is no GPA requirement. We're just looking for you to be able to get passing letter grades in some introductory courses. And presuming you do that, you would be admitted to those majors. If you are coming from another college on campus, you are required to get a 3.0 to transfer over to our college and declare the majors with a similar set of prerequisite courses as well. So that is a requirement, and we can work with you to try to make a plan for that. But those are the general requirements. There is no cap on any of the majors outright, so there's not a certain number of students we accept. Presuming you get the GPA required and you get passing grades in those classes, and you're able to finish the majors within your 4 years here at Berkeley, or 2 years as a transfer student, then there shouldn't be any reason that you're denied for transferring in. And there isn't a timeline either. You can transfer in at any point in time in the year. There's not a specific open application period for any of our majors. So assuming you meet those requirements for transferring, you can transfer at that point, fill out the paperwork, and it's a pretty smooth process to finish that transferring.
Great, all right, next question, rolling along. How does being undeclared affect one's ability to study abroad?
Yeah, so we have had a couple of undeclared students study abroad while they're still undeclared. Oftentimes we find that students typically do declare. I think part of that is based off of when many students study abroad. Oftentimes students are studying abroad in their late sophomore year or junior year. Those are some of the most common times. And we really encourage students who are undeclared to declare their major by the end of their sophomore year, so that going into the upper divisions, they're in the majors with the other students in the college and they have a clear path for those majors. So it's not extremely common for students to be undeclared. It still is generally an option, and we can work with that but oftentimes by the time the student is looking into studying abroad, considering you would be looking at that paperwork, filling that out 9 months prior, you're often also able to declare the major before then or at that point as well. And especially if you're hoping to use some of those study abroad courses towards a major, we find that it's also beneficial to have declared that major so that then you can talk to the advisor and get a sense of which courses you could take abroad towards those particular majors.
Great. Does a declared major student get priority for registering for classes versus over an undeclared student? So do students who are declared in a major have priority in terms of registration and picking classes?
So as far as the registration time, being declared or undeclared won't affect your registration time. That is affected by a number of other factors, the primary one being terms and attendance. So just how many semesters have you been here at Berkeley before, but there's a few other factors for that as well. So it does not impact that time that you have for registering, but you will find that there are some classes, especially some of the upper division courses, that save seats for students who are declared in majors. So if you are hoping to get one of those reserved seats, then you would need to be declared in those majors. That isn't the case for most of the lower division courses, and we don't generally find that students who are undeclared have an issue with getting the courses they need, but because they are undeclared if it's within the first couple of years. But that's another reason why we encourage students to declare after those first couple of years, so that going into their upper divisions, they can get the reserve seats they need. And in general, our college actually reserves a lot of the seats for our students to ensure that all of our students are able to get the classes they need to be on track for their majors, and that they're not in a position, we don't want any of our students to be in a position where they're unable to get a class they need for registration, for graduation, or unable to get something that would keep them on track just because they had a later registration time.
Great. One more quick question about enrollment. So is it true that Rouser saves seats in classes for their students in other colleges, like saving seats in a class in LNS?
So we do have a number of cross-listed courses. A cross-listed class means that it's offered and sponsored through a couple of different departments. And we have many of those agreements with the economics department or with the interdisciplinary studies department. So in that sense, sometimes there are safe seats in those sections of those cross-listed courses. For the most part, we don't have reserved seats in classes that are outside of our specific departments. We talked, in general, we try to avoid that situation by avoiding requiring classes that are outside of our college. If it's a requirement for the major, we try to ensure that there are classes that are offered by our college so that then we can easily reserve those seats as those classes are completely within our control. But we also do try to work with students to make sure that they have plans to take the classes that they need that we know that we aren't offering. And for most of the lower division courses that are very popular, there aren't reserved seats for many students across the college. So some of the biologies, the chemistries, the math, none of those classes have reserved seats, as they know that students across all of Berkeley will be taking those classes, and it would be unfair to just reserve those seats for students in those particular departments.
Great. So next question is, do many MEB students attend graduate school? And I'm wondering, Heidi, if you'd like to take this one.
Yeah, I can take this one. Yes, a lot of MEB students do attend graduate school. I know a lot of pre-vet students who are interested in applying to vet school. Lots of MEB majors are pre-meds, for example, so they're interested in applying to medical school. Lots of people interested in pharmacy, general like health, health-related grad school PT school and stuff like that. I also have friends in MEB who are interested in going to just general grad schools at universities. Like, for example, my friend is really interested in bioengineering, so she's going to grad school for that, which is, you know, it sounds really different from MEB as a major, but like I said, MEB is pretty encompassing of various aspects of biology. So you find that there are students who pursue careers in many different parts of the biological fields, yeah.
Great, thank you. And Anna, I'm wondering if you can answer more generally about Rouser College students attending graduate school.
Yeah, definitely. So we, in general, we found based off of our commencement survey feedback for the last 5 years that the majority of students when they graduate are intending to go to graduate school. Over 80% of them intend to go to graduate school within 5 years upon graduation. What that looks like is variable across the different majors. For many students, they're considering going on to a health-related program, either dentistry or medical school or veterinary school, as Heidi mentioned. But in some of the other majors, it's more common to look into like a master's of economics or law school or other master's programs, PhD research, those types of programs. So that can look very different across the majors, but we will say the majority of our students are considering further study upon graduation.
Great, thanks. So here's another question. What are the most common career pathways for people at Rouser College or graduates of Rouser College? And I'm wondering if Perla, you want to chime in on this one?
So I'm having really bad internet connection. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, of course. Thanks so much for being here. What are the most common, or what are some of the career pathways for Rouser graduates?
Career pathways. So I'm going to give more of a resource rather than answering the question because I'm not sure. But a while back, and it was a resource that was mentioned earlier, the Career Center, I was having issues visioning what my major would look like in a career. So I went to the Career Center and they told me that I should go on LinkedIn and then use a bunch of filters that I had no idea were on there to see people from Berkeley who graduated in CRS and what their area of interest was in order to see where they were working now. And I did that. And I guess in a way to answer the question, there were a whole bunch of different pathways. It's it was just very different, So yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's specifically called the Career Destination Survey. That's oftentimes what I refer students to. It's provided through the Career Center, like Perla said, and it can mention some of the specific destinations that graduating students said they were interested in and some of the specific careers they were interested in.
Great, thanks. We have a couple more questions kind of related to post-graduation trickling in. So someone asking if it's possible to go to law school afterwards for something like environmental law, and then also someone interested in perhaps getting a master's in engineering afterwards, even though they didn't specifically get a bachelor's degree in engineering.
Yeah, so as far as law school, we actually see a lot of the society and environment students are considering law school after graduation. I know within that specific major, you can take some legal studies courses as well as some political science courses. So something like environmental law would fit in really well with some of those lower division requirements that you would take. But for law school, there isn't necessarily a set list of things you have to take in school. So you could even study some of the biology majors or one of the other environmental economics, and you could still go on to law school if you wanted to. And we find that there definitely have been some students that have gone on to that. I know that one of our peer advisors is going on to law school following this year. So we've definitely had law school acceptances, and it's been across a variety of different majors. As far as the engineering programs, that I know that in general engineering would look for you to have a good number of quantitative classes. So you may have to take a few other courses than what you would typically take towards your major itself, maybe a few more physics, some higher level math than what some of our majors would require, but then you could still be prepared for some of those other programs. And in general, for most of these professional programs after graduation, they're not looking for only one major and one major only, or one set of majors. A variety of majors can apply as long as they have the skills and experience and a good quality transcript for that program. So I would say that you can major in many different things, especially within health-related programs. We often hear the myth that there's only one type of major that you would have to be pre-health. That's a common myth. And for medical school or dentistry school, all of those health-related programs, you could study a whole host of different majors within college, really any of the majors, as long as you fit in a few of these key classes that they're looking for those programs.
Awesome, great. Here's one for the pals. Is grade deflation a real thing at Rouser? Have you ever experienced anything like that? So grade deflation was the question.
I could start on this. I feel like as a bio major, I'm pretty exposed to lots of classes that are kind of prone to that kind of that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't say specifically in our college. There are lots of classes that I've been exposed to that are kind of rumored to be grade deflators. For example, a lot of the classes that I really take in Rouser are my upper division coursework, and a lot of the upper division classes, the professors are much more, I don't know what the right word is, but I would say they're more friendly about grading your work. And so the professors really want you to succeed in those upper division classes, and they're super excited to be teaching those classes. And so my experience with Rouser specific classes, I haven't really experienced grade deflation. I would say for some of the classes that are harder, they were mostly under division classes, lower division classes that were kind of more general classes that a lot of students take. So like biology and chemistry and that kind of stuff. I feel like oftentimes it's easy to feel like the grades you get in those classes are, you know, a little unfair considering so many students take that class and the curves tend to be pretty wonky for those classes.
Great, thanks Heidi. Here's another one for you. So we have a student who's definitely interested in working in a field that deals with animals, but I know they don't want to be a vet. Interested in animal behavior, nutrition, or conservation. Is MEB the only major that deals specifically with classes that cover animal-related topics?
No. So the integrative biology major is actually a great major for somebody who, you know, is interested in like working and learning about animals, but doesn't specifically want to be a vet. A lot of pre-vets tend to choose MEB just because of the animal in the major. One of the focuses is animal health and behavior, but MEB is definitely not one of the only classes that you can take animal classes in. And even as, you know, any other major in the Rouser College, you can go ahead and take animal related classes if you can fit them into your schedule. Like environmental science, you may be able to find classes that count towards that major that aren't specifically that are more animal oriented than others. And so you can kind of pick and choose what classes you would like to be taking that you're more interested in. And MEB is just a great major for taking animal classes because a lot of the animal related classes that are offered at Berkeley kind of count towards the major, but there are other majors that you can take and still you can be other majors in this college and still be able to take classes that let you learn about animal behavior, nutrition, and conservation.
Awesome, thank you. So here's our last question. If you want to transfer to Rouser from another college, can APs cover courses that are required to transfer into Rouser?
Yeah, so I'll take that question. You definitely can use AP courses to fulfill major requirements for any of the majors in our college. On the website, we have links to an AP and IB chart, IB standing for International Baccalaureate, of scores that you can take to satisfy some of the requirements for the majors and what each major accepts. For most of the majors, that will include your calculus or your statistics courses. There might be chemistry or biology requirements that are fulfilled. And oftentimes we encourage students to we find that students will still take those courses at Berkeley to prepare them for the other courses later on in their study. But we were happy to take the AP courses as well if you feel prepared in those subjects and you want to use that credit.
Great, thank you. So that was our last question for today. Thank you, Anna, Heidi, and Perla for being here today and answering the questions. Thank you to everyone who logged in and joined us for this info session and asked questions. Joshua has posted some contact information and where you can follow up if any of your questions didn't get answered today or if you think of something later. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, Anna, before we wrap up?
Yeah, I would love to thank the panels again. Thank you for being here for the session to provide the student experience. Feel free to reach out to them, like they mentioned, that pal@berkeley.edu email if you had any more specific student experience questions. You're also welcome to reach out to me. You can see my availability on the website. It's also cnr.undeclared@berkeley.edu if you have any other specific questions. And I really encourage you to also look at the other sessions later in the week. Like we mentioned, we have a session on every single major in the evenings from either 4 to 5 or 5 to 6. You can see all of those later sessions on our Cal Week webpage. If you go to nature.berkeley.edu/cal-week, you can see our full Cal Week listings on there and all the different options. I want to highlight again that tomorrow we will be having our student experience panel from 12 to 1:15. There you can hear a little bit more about the student experience and ask some more student specific questions there to those panelists. We'll also have our nutritional science and toxicology major sessions. That'll be covering the 3 different specializations of nutritional science: dietetics, physiology and metabolism, and toxicology. That will be from 4 to 5 p.m. with Megan DeRespini. And we have from 5 to 6 the environmental economics and policy major information session. So we encourage you to check out those sessions if you're interested in those majors. And you can see the full schedule once again at that Cal Week webpage along with those links. We also want to let our transfer students know that we will also be having a specific transfer student panel on Thursdays this Thursday from 12 to 1:15. And again, that link will also be on the Cal Week webpage.
Great, thank you so much. I think that's it. Josh, did you want to add anything to wrap up?
Sure. Just want to thank everyone for attending today. We really hope that you'll take advantage of all the Cal Week sessions. Want to thank all of our speakers here today, Jenny, Anna, Heidi, and Perla. You were amazing, and thank you so much. And yeah, we look forward to meeting you in person on campus in the fall semester. And if you have any questions in the meantime, please reach out to us. Have a great evening, and we'll see you soon. Bye.